My wife and I recently took a trip to Indianapolis, and I had just enough time to visit two record stores with the hopes of finding some cheap CDs. Did I actually find any? Spoiler alert, the first store had an awesome selection, and the second store had something that I never thought I would see again. Our first stop was the legendary Luna Music, a store that I have known about for years. Let me first give you a quick little tour around the shop, and then I'll show you if I was able to find anything worth buying. Okay, my original idea was to actually record in the car in Indianapolis after each store, but it was like 100 degrees. And when I'm using my phone, I have to disconnect the car. I basically have to turn the car off in order to actually record, and it was just too hot. So I brought everything home, thought I'd make a quick video showing you here what I found. So as you can see, Luna had a bunch of great selections there. There's just rows and rows of CDs. And I actually ended up buying, also along with what I purchased CD wise, I bought this great little record bag here. And I think there's even a, let's see, there's even a little Luna button here, which I bought two of and gave one to my wife. I also picked up this awesome Luna music card. Here's what I love the best. On the back, it says records I need to buy instead of paying rent. I've been there. All right, here are the CDs that I found at Luna. I'll tell you a little bit about each, what made me want to buy them real quick. So I got a full stack here. The first CD is sort of a classic that I've owned off and on for years and wasn't sure why I didn't have a copy of it anymore, but it's Gang of Four's Entertainment. Now this was only $6.99, and I found overall that the prices in Luna's store for used CDs were all great, as you'll see as I'm going through this list. Just a great post-punk album. Now, this is one that I have never seen from a band that I love called Firehose, which features the great Mike Watt. This was sort of post-Minutemen for him. I've seen Mike Watt on tour a couple times, always puts on a great show, but I had never seen a 2-disc set. So this is a 2 CD set, and there's random little things falling out. Probably some of these little teeth broke off here. But this is called Low Flows, the Columbia Anthology from 91 to 93. So I'm really excited about diving into this. That was $7.99. Not bad for 2 discs. I found a copy of John Prine's Bruised Orange classic album. This is actually still on, still has the Oh Boy Records address from 35 Music Square West, which personally speaking is not far from my office. I drive by that every day. This is just a classic album and one that everyone has to have. I recently played this for my sons while we were driving to Las Vegas and back this summer, and they fell in love with John after listening to that album. Hot Rats, wait, John Prine, $5.99. Hot Rats, $5.99. Now, this is an album that is done by, I think, 1 or 2 of the guys from Supergrass. I'm not sure. It's sort of a one-off fun thing. Now, these are all cover songs, but they're done in really unique ways. And the one that gets me the most is they cover the Beastie Boys' You Gotta Fight for Your Right to Party, but in sort of like a jingly-jangly Beatles-esque indie pop kind of way. A lot of fun. I've never seen that in a store on CD. My son has been wanting me to pick him up Leonard Skinner CDs, so I got him Second Helping, $5.99. I actually saw these guys play this summer as part of a work project. And I mean, they still put on a show. Polvo. Now, this is off Merge Records. This album is in Prism. This is actually one that I forgot was out there. This is from 2009. I love Polvo. Listened to them all in college. I'm not exactly that familiar with this album, but it was $5.99. I love this band enough to pick up a copy of it. Little Feat, this is, to me, my favorite Little Feat album, their first one. This has all the best songs on it, in my opinion. I mean, there's some great ones on others, but I only paid $5.99 for this, and I rarely ever see CD copies of this album. So I grabbed it the minute I saw it. Now, the classic song for me is track 5, Willin', which obviously Linda Ronstadt covered on her album Heart Like a Wheel, which I love. Just a great, I just love this one. Strawberry Flats, Truck Stop Girl, Snakes on Everything. Love this. $5.99, no problem. I picked up 2 No Effects CDs. Let's see, Animation, or Liberal Animation, and a Ribbed. These were both $5.99 each. I was listening to this last night. This was recorded in 1988 and came out in 1991. Now, in 1988, I was listening to like hair metal. So to think about these guys making this album then is really pretty interesting. It has a song called Vegetarian Mumbo Jumbo, which I thought was pretty great. The last CD that I found I was so excited about because I never see this anywhere and it's always been hard to find, at least for me, in the wild, and that's Brian Eno's Neroli. Now, as you guys, if you watch any of my live streams about my CD hauls, I always pick up Brian Eno CDs, but Neroli is sort of one of these classics that it's literally just one song. It's called Thinking Music Part 4, and it is almost 58 minutes long. That's all this is. It's just one track. $7.99, which I think is actually a great price. Again, I never see, it's hard to find Brian Eno, but especially Neroli CDs. Now, overall, I thought Luna just had a great selection of, everything. They had an awesome area for used cassettes. They had some great records on the wall. I think they had some Echo and the Bunnymen album I had never seen before, a Cure album I had never seen, a great copy of John Coltrane. Maybe there was a Sonic Youth, perhaps, for like $150. Just so many great selections on the wall. And they had awesome albums. I think there's a sign that says they had like over 10,000 records in the store. And the clerks were very helpful and were always walking around making sure I had everything that I was looking for, and always willing to help me find something. So if you're buying vinyl records, they had like a collectible section with a Slow Dive album that I had never seen before. And that collectible section was jam-packed full of great records. Pretty pricey, but there's a reason why they were pricey, and lots of great stuff. But that was just the first place that we went to. Before we went to the second one, we had to make a quick stop. And where better to go but then a converted church that is now a brewery, where we were able to stop and just have a couple of cold snacks just to relax before we went out and did a little bit more shopping. We actually ended up getting some food there as well. They had great food and great beer. And it was just what we needed to help us transition to our second stop, which again was a store that had some things that I never thought I would see again. Let me show you that next. Okay, so that was Indie CD and Vinyl, a store that I've actually been following on Instagram for a few years now. I knew we only had time to hit up maybe 2 stores in Indianapolis, so Luna, Indie CD, and Vinyl, those were on my list. And yes, I did actually get another bag. I always love picking up record store bags. It's sort of another weird thing that I collect when I go out of town. However, this bag I actually got for free because I bought enough items there to earn a free bag. As soon as I brought all of my discs up, the gentleman at the counter looked at the person helping him and said, he's going to earn a bag. So that's the bag I got, which I thought was pretty awesome. Now, the thing that I wanted to clarify about what surprised me the most about this store was that they still sold brand new sealed CDs. Now, some people might find this a little confusing because the way Indie CD and Vinyl does it, and they were very helpful. They constantly had people coming by and checking in on me and asking if I needed help to put things at the counter while I was continually shopping. And one of the things they explained to me is that they mix in their used CDs with their new CDs. So, and they put their used CDs in baggies like this, while their new CDs are just still shrink wrapped like you would normally expect. And that helped sort of clarify what I was kind of shopping through, because honestly, for a minute, I was very confused. So some people may like that. Some people actually may not like that at all. But it didn't matter to me because the amount of music that they had available on CD was mind blowing. They had a whole metal section. They had all the rock and indie stuff that I normally look at. They had soul, they had country, they had everything. And so what I ended up realizing is I just bought mostly new CDs. In fact, I think there's only one used CD in here. Now, I wanted to clarify one thing here because I always talk about buying cheap CDs. And some people are going to watch this video as I'm going through here and think these aren't cheap. But I still think they're actually cheaper than if I bought them in a vinyl. If I bought them on a vinyl copy, it would be a lot more expensive. Fortet is a great example. I very rarely walk into a store and see Fortet CDs, right? So this copy was $14.99. And again, now you may be thinking, I can't believe you spent $15 on a CD, but it was brand new. I mean, it's what you would probably pay on Amazon. It felt a lot better buying it in a store than on Amazon, I'll tell you that much. Radiohead, A Moon-Shaped Pool. I'm going to be honest with you, I've been really lazy with this Radiohead album and just have not listened to it. $15.99 for a sealed copy. Now, I'm actually able to buy sealed copies myself when I sell them at record shows or in my vintage booth. To stock new CDs and buy them like this is not cheap. So $15.99, they're probably only making $3 or $4 profit off that. So, they're not gouging you with these prices. This is what their markup is on the wholesale price, which they paid for. I picked up this J Mascis solo album, Tied to a Star. Yeah, Tied to a Star. I love J Mascis. I love Dinosaur Jr. This is actually a Sub Pop record release from 2014. It's one that I sort of just let fly by me at the time and didn't really spend much time listening to. So I was excited to see it and pick it up. And speaking of Dinosaur Jr., I paid $13.99 for that one. Speaking of Dinosaur Jr., I got Sweep. Why can't I read this? Sweep It Into Space. It was $15. Again, this is one of those albums that I just sort of let slide by, and I really need to spend more time with. It came out in 2021 on Jaguar Records. So excited to listen to that one. I picked up the Cure 17 Seconds CD. Now, I paid $15.99 for this. This one's brand new sealed copy. This actually has 2 discs inside. So it has the original album, and then it also has a disc of rarities. So it's got vinyl singles, it's got live cuts, it's got alternative mixes, a lot of live cuts on here. So I was kind of excited to pick it up, a 2-disc set. This is an album that I haven't spent much time. I don't have a vinyl copy of it, but I always look for Cure CDs and was excited to see that. Now, speaking of really excited, to find a Descendant CD, I love that so much. Summary is, I forgot. This is sort of like, it's not a compilation album. They basically took different EPs and albums and put them all into one sort of album. So like you can't even find this on streaming. You could just find the different versions available that you stream independently. $18. I just recently picked up a Descendants Everything Sucks CD to sell at a record show, and a sealed copy. Like I ended up having to charge $16 for it, and only made just a few bucks here or there, profit. But it's really fun. I absolutely love the Descendants, and just had to pick that one up. They had a great section of movie soundtracks. So I picked up Gone Girl because I've just been in this Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross rabbit hole, and a lot of you who watch live streams will know that I've been picking that up. So I was excited to get it. That is a movie. Hot Snakes, R.I.P. Rick Froberg, but Suicide Invoice. I had a vinyl copy of this that I sold and kind of regretted it when he passed away. This is actually brand new, sealed, and it's been marked down to $6.99. And I also got the album they released not too long ago. I forget what year this album came out. This came out on Sub Pop. It's Jericho Sirens. This is what things look like when they were used. So they were in this baggie. It was $5, which I thought was a great price. Sylvan Esso is just a band that I like to play, just sort of have playing in the background, and $12.99 for this album. I think this has the song Echo Party on it, which I just think is a fun little jam. And I'm never going to pass up a Ween album, The Pod. It's hard to find Ween CDs anymore. I'm telling you, they're finally, I think, reissuing Chocolate and Cheese on vinyl. But when you find Ween CDs, you should pick them up because people have really started collecting them. And but this is just one that I haven't seen in the store for a very long time. Now, all that, I think I spent $158 for all of these CDs. Now, again, like I was saying with Luna, the vinyl available to buy at Indie CD and Vinyl was also spectacular. On the wall, they had an all record, all as in like a Descendants all. And I think it was like $60 that I was really tempted by. They had an OG copy of the Porno for Pyros album. It was $300, which is probably a fair price. Somebody's probably willing to pay that. I thought that was great. They also had like higher end CDs, SACDs, or Mobile Fidelity CDs on a shelf that you could get. And they even had a Mariah Carey long box that they were charging $70 for, which you may think is crazy, but that's what those things go for on eBay. Like I said, if I go back to Indianapolis in the cooler months, I'm definitely going record shopping at both of these stores because they both had awesome finds. Now, you may think that these CDs were so expensive and they didn't have a lot of cheap options. I actually saw an affordable Devo's Greatest Hits for like $5, an affordable Echo and the Bunnymen self-titled CD. They had a whole rack of $5 CDs that, to be honest with you, wasn't the easiest to sort of sort through. So I just kind of turned it around and scanned through it and passed on it, knowing that I was finding all of these great brand new sealed CDs, which again, I just thought was so much fun. So wonderful time at Indie CD and Vinyl, and was super glad to find all of these. Well, the one thing I didn't mention about this entire trip is that we were actually there to catch a WNBA game and see the Fever versus the New York Liberty, which was actually turned into be a great game overall. Caitlin Clark got her first triple-double, which was like the first ever done by a rookie in the WNBA. She broke some kind of record. It was interesting because my wife and I were celebrating our 22 wedding anniversary by seeing number 22 Caitlin play her 22nd WNBA game, and the rival across the floor, who I was also very excited to see, Sabrina Ionescu, scored 22 points to end the game. So it was just a fun event altogether. But I wanted to get a little bit of shopping in while we were there, and that's the result of this video. So I hope you enjoyed watching this. If you're interested in checking out another day of CD shopping with me, you can do so by checking out a video where I kind of went around my local shops here where I live and just tried to see if I could find any cheap CDs there. Now that's where I was finding CDs for as low as $1 or $1.50 and even a little bit higher. And I even swung by my vintage booth that day just to kind of give you a tour of what that looks like if you're ever in the Murfreesboro area and want to do a little bit of shopping in my booth. So if you're interested in watching that video, you can do so by clicking here.